Salut à tous et bienvenue pour la suite de ce Let's Play The Outer Wars Special Edition. Donc je reprends direct là où je m'étais arrêté. Il va falloir secourir Phineas.
We've arrived at Phineas's orbital lab.
Good to see you, boss.
Wish I could do that.
Il est où le mot de passe? Maintenant se diriger vers Tartare. C'est une prison de ce que j'ai compris. Et c'est l'endroit le plus dur. Bébé.
Captain, as it appears we may soon be embarking, I believe the crew would like to speak with you as you...
Those board goons kidnapped Mr. Phineas and hauled him away to Tartarus. How are we gonna get him out?
Breaking Phineas Wells out of a maximum security penitentiary. I can't think of a better lost cause to commit ourselves to.
To extract the scientist, you will need to infiltrate the labyrinth. But that course of action is likely to be quite dangerous, Captain. I am programmed to warn you whenever you exhibit inclinations toward risky behavior.
Getting in is the simple part. It's getting out again that's the trouble. Trust me, I know.
Let's just do it. Kick down some doors, grab Doc Wells, and cut a path out. We don't need to...
If you really mean to do this, You should see to your final affairs and close out any unfinished business.
It's the craziest plan I've ever heard. And I mean that as a compliment.
You didn't hire me to think. And I ain't about to start now. You're my boss. And I'll walk into fire with you.
I think it's insane. But maybe the colony needs a healthy dose of insanity right about now.
I know it's dangerous. And I won't lie and say I'm not scared out of my wits. But I couldn't live with myself if we didn't do something.
You're asking for more than bravery from us, Captain. But there are worse ways to go than dying for—
Let Sam get the grime out. It's what our units do.
The entire plan is a terrible idea, but I admire.
If we don't make it, at least it'll be a...
Got my trusty tossball stick. Got my ass-kicking boots. I'm ready, boss.
You can count on us, Captain. We're crew. For real crew.
Never thought I'd volunteer to break into a prison. Seems like your tendency towards risky behavior is rubbing off on me, Captain.
Command not recognized.
Waiting on your command, Captain.
On va y aller. On va faire, c'est que je vais sauvegarder quand même avant. Mais je vais quand même me lancer vers la fin du jeu. C'est parti.
I am pleased to inform you that we have arrived at the labyrinth. Please be advised that electrical storms on the surface of Tartarus make departure impossible at this time. Resident count is as follows: 3,071. Resident deaths, including but not limited to execution. The interior can be chilly. I would also ask that you leave your captain's ID with me, in the event that you do not return. I can make the assurance that I will not leave with another captain, unless you do not return within 876 million. Oh, speak of the devil. Captain, I am...
Attention, unauthorized spacecraft. This is a maximum security installation. Your presence here is an explicit violation. You are hereby confined to your docking platform until a ticket detailing your crimes has been filed and notarized, at which point your vessel will be seized and you will be executed. Your ship is not permitted to leave until you remit payment for your fines and submit your... Only after your smoking corpse is thrown from an airlock will we lift the lockdown.
Captain, I would not recommend this course of action.
All right. I'm feeling generous. I'm transmitting the idea of a productive, law-abiding employee. Anyway, Tartarus Docking Authority signing up. Hang on. Wait, is that from the Groundbreaker? What the... Pay no mind...
Transmission terminated. Biometric ID received. Transferring data to external. How can I be of assistance? I'll be here.
Je vais prendre le heal et... Parvati. Parvati, je sais plus quoi.
Right by us.
What's that noise? What was that?
The board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I breathe. Push on, Mardat.
Somebody please. Stay down, hullhead. Stay down.
Ah, on reçoit l'aide. Précurseur, je crois.
Nice of them to leave us a few options.
Sublight has arrived. Hey, kid. A little bird told me you could use our help. I said I owed you one, and I always pay my debts.
J'ai l'aide de Sublight maintenant. En vrai, je pourrais y aller en mode discret, mais je vais en mode droit.
Get in there, troops. For Monarch. For Halcyon.
Non. C'est avec moi, lui. Comment je suis supposé reconnaître amis et ennemis quand il y a du team kill?
They won't try that again.
Well, look who it is. I'll be damned. I had heard you'd taken a mechanic under your wing.
The captain's treated me right. Better than any of you bored folk ever have.
Ah, and the wayward doctor. Are you about done with your escapades?
These days, I'm more interested in breaking them. Wouldn't mind taking a swing.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. I'll want it recognizable to show to my citizens. I'm not in your way, you dullard. You talk to me. Besides, I don't know what you think you're doing here, but Sophia's doing good work up there with Phineas. Your efforts will be in vain. Yes, he is an extraordinarily obstinate fellow, isn't he? But that's between us. As far as my adoring citizens will know, we've turned a dangerous crackpot into a working-class man. It's a miracle. Oh yes, go on, wake them up, add more mouths to feed. That'll solve... I don't know what half-baked plans that simpleton in a lab coat has been leading you through. Let me ask you something, Captain. Have you at any point thought about not fucking up our...
We're helping, which is more than you can say.
I'm making actual progress towards stabilization and recovery. You're just getting in the way. If I and my people can ride it out in luxury and happiness, I'll admit there's no shortage of talent in the scientists and engineers. Look, I'm not an unreasonable man. If you manage to storm the castle, as it were, and make it out of here with Phineas alive, I can't exactly afford more havoc than you've already caused. Fine. If you survive, you'll need someone to sell the rest of the board on your plan.
I don't see what the fuss is about a blasted lab coat.
Sweeping B area. Identify.
Guess this is it, huh?
Whatever comes of this, I'm just real glad to know you all.
Captain, you've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty. Do you imagine you're leading some grand... Those barbarians from Monarch are running wild in my prison. You're nothing but a rabble-rouser. I'm going to put an end to your little The board is the only legitimate power. I admit I miscalculated the extent of your influence. The board's plan... I have Dr. Wells in my custody. Once I've secured his cooperation, I can move forward with the... I'm aware of your propensity for violence. I wish you'd simply cooperated with me. Fair enough. I'm giving you exactly one chance to parlay with me. Yes, I'm quite aware of your brazen act of corporate My scientists assure me they can recover the data you've destroyed. You've succeeded in temporarily delaying our research. That isn't true. That experiment was absolutely essential to the program. Damn you. You are telling the truth. My science, we're going to have to start all over again. All that research, all those... You were always an unknown variable. You're unpredictable. And you answer to no one but yourself. I couldn't just leave you untethered. You chose to ally yourself with an irrational madman. I understand. You have an entire population. I haven't given up on the program yet. You've caused some complication. I haven't lost control of the labyrinth yet. Our security system is still operational. I can still put a stop to... This prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. I've had... And don't worry. I will inform Dr. Wells that you died...
Voilà, ça sent la bataille de boss là. J'ai dû prendre ça. Sur mon crâne. J'ai mis trop haut level au moment où j'ai fait les DLC.
Get me out of here!
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was... And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your... Ah, all in a day. You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any... Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single... 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they...
They haven't exactly been hands-on around here anyway. So there's one less rubber...
Earth is humanity's home planet, Miss Fenhill. The psychological effects of losing our original...
You mean... we're...
I'm afraid so, Miss Holcomb. Halcyon is the only home we have. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. We're entirely on our own. Yes, certainly. I'll help. You might have heard of the Earth Directorate's frigate. Half the colony's entire military was on that ship. They were returning to Earth when they vanished without... That was 2 years ago. I heard it from Akande herself. She tried to pressure me into joining her side, you see. Tried to make me realize... She was half right. I don't know what happened, but something must have gone horribly wrong. I don't know why Earth... We have no connection back to Earth, and Yes, Akande mentioned as much. Earth hasn't sent us a single... Akande had kept the truth to herself. I wasn't trying to hide the truth from you, but after all you've done... Yes, I experimented on the Hope's colonists. Each of my experiments, and you are my first and only success. I didn't tell you about the others because I didn't want to burden you. My failure... You have every right to think of me that way. I know I can never win back. My apologies. I need to get a... If you have any more questions... Yes, we do. You've done a marvelous thing. You've succeeded where... We must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the Hope's brightest minds. And then we're going to need a leader. And I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend? Will you help us? I can't tell. When I revived you, we can't save Halcyon on our own. We are not a colony anymore. Our last connection to Earth.
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. As the colony struggled to survive, the inspirational story of the iconoclasts spread like wildfire, and Graham was able to bring many of the smaller Terra 2 townships into the fold. However, his zealous obsession with spreading the word blinded him to the needs of a growing organization, and the movement was unsustainable at scale. The iconoclast way seemed to work best, and ultimately petered out on Monarch. Bolstered by her status as savior of humanity, Lilia Hagen ushered sublight salvage to a new golden age. Her company grew bolder and more transparent over time, muddying the line between lawful and criminal for the entire colony. The Sublight family would thrive for years to come. The collapse of Edgewater left its workers bereft of any purpose in life. Most of them made their way to Adelaide McDevitt's camp, hoping to ingratiate themselves into her favor. Adelaide accepted only a few to her community. The rest were turned away and likely died of starvation. Nevertheless, Adelaide's camp grew into a well-established town. Adelaide McDevitt refused to cooperate with the ongoing effort to save Halcyon from collapse. A sympathetic deserter stole a copy of her research and delivered it to the Hope's scientists. It is unclear how useful Adelaide's research was. An optimistic estimate suggests her work may have bought Halcyon another few years of survival. Adelaide would never know. She died that winter. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the Lifetime Employment Program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Even the Gorgon asteroid, though a distant enigma to most of Halcyon, felt the aftershocks of your actions. The destroyed Adrenatime synthesizer became a symbol of the board's cruelty and a rallying point for Wells and his scientists as they sought to build a more humane, ethical Halcyon. they cleared the dead from Gorgon's laboratories and repurposed them to aid in the crucial work of solving the colony's nutrition crisis. The Gorgon Project's final explosive end was bittersweet for Olivia Ambrose. She wandered the colony's fringes alone, searching for others like her who despised the board and meant to destroy them. In time, she found Phineas Wells and his cadre of scientists, and she joined them in their efforts to save Halcyon. For a while, she even knew an uneasy peace. But for all that, Olivia found purpose in Wells' project. She was always haunted by the memory of her daughter, Minnie, who hadn't lived to see the better world they were building. She never did forgive herself for the horror her work had wrought on Halcyon. But she remembered fondly the daring captain who'd put an end to it at last. In spite of everything, the Gorgon asteroid remained a sobering reminder of the potential for progress and disaster in humanity's most ambitious efforts. The Rizzo's company in Halcyon dissolved after the collapse of the board. Needless to say, the launch of Spectrum Brown was indefinitely delayed. A stockpile of Spectrum Brown remains buried deep beneath the ruins of the old distillery, abandoned to time and attrition. Ruth Bellamy never forgot the words you said to her. She coped with Belinda's death by committing to live in a way that would make her sister proud. When the remnants of the colony banded together, Ruth Bellamy was there to help. She devoted her remaining years and resources to saving the colony. The dissolution of the board did not mean the dissolution of the ambitions of Cedric Kincannon, the charismatic leader of Sublight Underground. Cedric offered Slug's transportation services to the newly thawed colonists and set to work ferrying resources and food wherever they were most needed. For better or worse, slug headgear became fashionable in the following years. As the board began to disintegrate, Spencer Woolrich found himself at a crossroads. Cling to what little stardom remained to him, or help usher Halcyon into its new future. To the surprise of many, perhaps himself most of all, Spencer chose the latter option. Having learned a variety of different skills in the many different roles played throughout his lengthy career, Spencer founded a radio serial dedicated to staying alive despite the odds. His subjects included how to survive violent encounters with only grazing wounds, dispense pithy one-liners for tense scenarios, and, of course, how to look good doing both. After a brief attempt at dating Helen as one person rather than two, which both Bertie and Helen found too strange, Bertie struck out on his own to try his hand at raising woolly cows. Many of his former Rangers teammates soon followed, accompanied by the woolly cow the team had originally plied with alcohol. The dairy farm thrived under Bertie's leadership and care. The Dairy Rangers privately believed that the woolly cows softened Bertie's temper considerably, although the only one brave enough to say this to his face was promptly headbutted. Due to the board's dissolution, many of the Prophet's old customers no longer found quite the same value in productivity seminars that they once had. With her business drying up, the Prophet chose to take her followers down a new path. Months later, salvagers on Eridanos found clues leading them to a seemingly abandoned bunker out in the wilderness. Inside, they discovered horribly mangled corpses, sacrificed to a blood-scrawled portrait of a sprat-headed deity. The Prophet was not among the bodies. Your influence shifted Ellie's perspective. She finally admitted, albeit grudgingly, that she just might need other people. Sometimes. With a steady income from the life insurance payouts, she was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She hired a small crew and flew supply missions to communities on the fringe. Some of them were even legal. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. As much as he enjoyed his adventures aboard the Unreliable, the vicar, known as Max, eventually decided that it was time to move on, to live out the life he had sought so long to create. He knew there were many in the colony who carried burdens much worse than the ones he had struggled with, and he devoted himself to easing their suffering wherever he could. He only ever took up arms again to defend the defenseless. Unshackled from a lifetime of striving and fighting the universe and himself, Vicar Maximilian de Soto was finally at peace. Once the matter with the Hope colonists was resolved, Junlei bashfully asked Parvati if she'd like to join her permanently on the Groundbreaker, and Parvati enthusiastically, if somewhat awkwardly, agreed. The stories of her adventures spread across the colony, and Parvati soon found herself the center of attention. Having served as the engineer of a renowned spacecraft, tramp freighters and wildcat miners sought her out by name, and in no time, she was a fixture in the Groundbreaker's mechanical ecosystem. She and Junlei were never far apart. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, a mercenary outfit of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail, or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. Chairman Rockwell served as the public face for the changes in Halcyon to come. Whenever you needed strings pulled or a voice to sell a policy change, Rockwell was only too happy to oblige. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. Though he was always haunted by the failures of his past, he was determined to make things right by building toward the future. Dr. Wells was able to revive many more scientists and engineers than he first expected, thanks to the additional batch of chemicals you stole from the Ministry. Wells never forgot about the human lives that were lost in acquiring these chemicals. The revival project was hard and painful work, but in the end, despite limited resources, over half the Hope's colonists were successfully revived. Even after Wells passed away, the Hope scientists and engineers worked night and day to pull Halcyon from the brink of collapse. Their efforts continue to this day, which may be reason enough for optimism. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Life will never be the same in Halcyon. It is widely agreed that the colony has a chance of stabilizing within a generation, owing to the hard work and determination of the surviving colonists. Recovery is a distant goal, and the path is long and uncertain. But the people of Halcyon carry on, determined as ever. And what about you? the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon. Long after Wells passed away, you carried on his work with more energy, determination, and brilliance than he could ever muster. The years that followed were hard, but Halcyon survived by the efforts of the Hope's most promising colonists, the greatest of which was you. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.
C'était une fin assez sympa. Honnêtement, je sais pas s'il y a une bonne fin dans ce jeu. Parce que j'ai l'impression que c'est un peu triste comme fin. Un jeu sympa. Mais un peu genre hopeless quand même. Mais bon, c'est sympa à jouer. Franchement, je me plains pas. C'est un bon jeu. Un bon jeu, rejouable en plus. On peut avoir des fins différentes. On peut coopérer avec le conseil. Avoir une fin totalement différente de celle qu'on a eue et tout. On peut même recruter aucun coéquipier. On peut faire plein de choses. Donc voilà. Un jeu vraiment sympa. Et si on va avoir le fin de mot de l'histoire et connaître toutes les histoires alternatives et tout, faut vraiment s'investir, je pense. Bon, dans tous les cas, merci d'avoir regardé. À la prochaine sur un nouveau jeu. Ciao.